Good afternoon, everyone. We are getting close to the Purim moments, to the excitement of Purim. We are right before the Shabbat. We call it Shabbat Zachor. That's always a Shabbat before Purim. And why is it called Shabbat Zachor? Because this is Shabbat that we read about to remember erasing Amalek. So this is the Shabbos that we're talking about, erasing Amalek. And as we know, the connection to Purim is because Haman, that he is the main guy in the story of Purim, and he is from Amalek, and he was erased on Purim holiday, even though it was really at the second of Pesach, but it's all connected to the Purim holiday. So this is how this Shabbos and Purim are all connected. So let's talk a few moments about this Shabbos, Shabbat Zachor, about the mitzvah of erasing Amalek. And as we know, in our history, we had twice the erasing or trying to erase Amalek. First we had when they came in the desert to fight the Jews, and then Moshe sent Yeshua to fight them, but wasn't erased yet. But then there was another story when finally the Jews are the first king in Israel. And as we know, the first king in Israel has the duty one of his duties is to erase Amalek. And this is, we had the story with King Saul, Shaul HaMelech, that Shmuel the prophet appointed him as being king, and he told him that your mitzvah, your duty will be to erase Amalek. And we're learning also in the Torah of this week. But as we know the story, that Shaul went to fight Amalek, victorious, won the war, but he did not erase Amalek. And as we know the story, when he came back, Shaul told him to Shemuel, I did my mission. He said, you did your mission, I hear some sounds. So he told him, yeah, I left some. And he told him, why did you not do God's mission to erase Amalek? And as we know the story there, what was the story that he did not erase Amalek? We'll learn, Allah achar asechel. He used his mind, he used his thoughts and his understanding. And in his understanding was better to bring offerings from all the sheep and goats of Amalek. Better let's use them out for good things than erasing them. To him it made more sense. And this was his failure, that he's not supposed to do the way you understand. You have to follow what you are told by God. And God told you erase Amalek, you're supposed to erase Amalek. And this is why, as we know the story, he lost the kingdom because of that. Because kingdom ought to be that he has to follow what God says and not the way he understands. That's the story of Shaul with Amalek. And as we see it also in the other story, when fighting Amalek, Yeshua sent Anshe Moshe, people of Moshe, to fight Amalek. And that's the difference between the way Shaul was fighting Amalek. Shaul was fighting Amalek and it was a successful war, but it was based on his understanding. And when you do things based on your understanding, it's not going to work out. What he was requested to do things because God said so. And this is why the first time the war of Amalek, when Moshe Rabbeinu sends Yeshua, he sends Anshe Moshe, people of Moshe. What is the meaning he sends people of Moshe? Sending people of Moshe meant that they like Moshe. What is Moshe? Moshe had his humility. Moshe had his connection. Moshe had something in him that completely what God says, it goes. And that was the war of Amalek, the way it was at the time of Moshe. And this is how it's all connected to this sixth parsha. That this sixth parsha we're learning at Tetzaveh. You, Moshe, you should command the Jews. But Hasidus teaches us that Tetzaveh means you should connect the Jews to God. And the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu is the one to connect the Jews to God, because Moshe Rabbeinu, his message that he gives the people is to become completely a conduit to the one above, to do things completely because the one above is the one that said that. And this is what we have to learn from this parasha of Amalek. Our erasing Amalek should be that we have that mission every day to erase Amalek, erase our negative, but we got to do it not with understanding. We got to do it as Anshe Moshe, people of Moshe, to be a conduit. Just do it because Moshe Rabbeinu said. Because if Moshe Rabbeinu said, God said. Shaul supposed to do it because Shmuel said. Or Shmuel said because God said. Not because you understand. And this is the way we have to act. The same thing. Do it because our Moshe says to do. We got to do. As just a short, cute little story with a great chassid. His name was Rabbi Naftali Perlstein. A lot of stories with him. A great man, a Russian Jew, moved to Israel, and then he became back a shaliach in Lithuania, where he originally came from. And one of the stories with him, that he was once by the Rebbe before going back to Israel, and he wanted to tell the Rebbe he's going home tonight. And the Rebbe gives him a bracha. He says, a successful trip to Brazil. He goes away and he thinks to himself, he's told the Rebbe he's going to Israel, but Brazil. But in his mind, the Rebbe told him a successful trip to Brazil. He's going to Brazil. He calls up his family in Israel. I'm not coming home now. I'm rearranging my ticket to go to Brazil. His family says, the Rebbe probably did not hear what you said. He probably heard you saying you're going to Brazil. So he gave you a bracha, a successful trip to Brazil. He said, no. The Rebbe knows. And if he said to me, successful trip to Brazil, I have to go through Brazil. And the guy did it. He didn't care what all his friends told him. He didn't care what no one told him. The Rebbe said, successful trip to Brazil. He's going to Brazil. And to make a long story short, he rearranged his tickets. He bought tickets to Brazil, and he went to Brazil. The guy doesn't speak the language. He doesn't know anybody. One person in Brazil he finally knows, and he calls them up, and he meets with them. And the person says, what can I do for you? He says, nothing. I'm just here. Because the Rebbe said to me, go to Brazil. So I'm here in Brazil. And as the talking, he gets involved with a story of a girl that is engaged with a non-Jewish fellow, and Natke Barkan, as being a warm Russian Jew, meets that girl. He changes her mind and it brings her back, and she's, as he says the story, she's married with a Jewish boy with a beautiful family. And he says, now I know what the Rebbe said, successful trip to Brazil. And from there he goes back on his route to Israel. That's called, you do it not because your mind tells you that's the right thing. If you were told by Moshe, if you're told by Shmuel, if you're told by the Rebbe, this is all messages of God, and you have to follow and listen. And if you follow and listen blindly, with not using your mind, just that's the way it's got to be done, we'll succeed. And we'll succeed in the mission for this week's parasha, to erase Amalek, that Bezrat Hashem, Amalek will be erased. And as we know, by erasing the Amalek, Hashem will bring us Mashiach, because this is one of the main mitzvot to do before Mashiach comes, and it's written in the halacha. Have yourself a good Shabbos and a beautiful Purim, and let's celebrate this year Purim with Amalek being erased, with Mashiach being with us. L'chaim, l'chaim.